Okay, I'm Phil Dutton, and I'm the Associate Dean of Science at the University of Windsor, and I'm at home, and I make bread on a regular basis, actually about 3 times a week probably. So it's a pretty simple process. You need 2.5 cups of water, a tablespoon of salt, a bunch of containers to put things in, and a bag of gold. It's hard to get. And so I've weighed out 900 grams of flour here, and now we're going to get started. Oh, forgot the secret ingredient. I'll be right back. You need the animals. So in here you will see there is sourdough starter. So first thing you got to do is save some of this, because you're going to need it to make more starter. So that's what this little cup is for, and we take out about 1/4 of a cup of that, which is about that much or so. Yep, oop, I'm getting too much. Come on, break off. There you go. Alright, so there's 1/4, actually it's a bit more than 1/4 of a cup, but this is organic chemistry. And then we need a bit of water, and 1/2 cup of water. And again, usually I don't measure this, so it's just kind of pour it in and say, well, that's about 1/2 cup here. And so this is going to be used to feed my dough. And now we take our 2.5 cups of water, and we're going to use this 2.5 cups to make the dough. First, we take 1/4 cup out, which is about that much. That's a bit much. Something like that, 1/4 of a cup. And we add 1 tablespoon of salt to it. That can then get swirled around. We put that aside for a couple of hours while the bread's getting ready. To the remaining water, you put your animals in. So we're going to scoop all our little critters in there. And as you can see, it's floating on the surface. If it's not floating on the surface, it's not ready to make bread. So, and how do you get it ready to make bread? Well, that's part of this feeding process that we're doing right here. So take our 1/4 cup of starter and 1/2 cup of yeast, and to it we add 1/2 cup of flour, which is actually about this much. 1, 2, 3, that's roughly 1/2 cup of flour. I know people think baking is careful measurement, but it's not. It's more like, oh yeah, it looks about right. Alright, so it looks about the consistency of thick peanut butter. Mix it all up. And my kettle's boiling, excuse me. Just turn it off. Alright, so if I was just feeding this regularly, in about 6 or 7 hours, that'd be ready to do what we're doing right now. I feed mine once a day. Okay, so here, mix this up. And pour it into the flour. And I will let you look at this. Whoop, how do we do this? There we go. You just mix all that up, and I'll show you that again in a second. kind of gets to a shaggy sort of a dough. And then once I get it stirred like that, and I hold my spoon like this and I dig it and I push it and get all of the dry stuff mixed into it. This is not kneading, this is just mixing. The idea is just to get kind of, there's another stage later on that we do. Alright, so then there we go. There's the dough, and it's gonna now sit there. I put a bit of a cover on it. So I'll put a cover on this, just a loose one, just to stop it from drying out. And it sits for 3 to 4 hours, and I'll be back with more. So this is the start of making sourdough bread.